You're listening to How to 20-something, the best podcast that helps both men and women navigate their 20s and learn how to adult across all aspects of their lives. We're going to focus on career, relationships, finances, fitness, nutrition, and all of the common challenges and obstacles a typical 20-something will face in this post-college life. I'm your host, Jess Diamond, and I am the CEO and founder of Jess Diamond Coaching, where I help young professionals get their shit together, gain their confidence, and own their life. No one prepares you for this adulting world, so allow me to help you feel like you are no longer a chicken running around with its head cut off, and that you actually know what the hell is going on and what your next step to take is. Welcome to How to 20-something. Welcome back to How to 20-something, where today I'm going to normalize uncertainties and challenges we all face as we grow through our 20s. Or in other words, the top 5 shared experiences that no one really talks about. I've mentioned many times now how we are all living different lives and are on very different paths. But I think a large part of that we tend to forget or overlook is that it doesn't mean you are all alone with what you're going through or experiencing. I started planning this episode out before I left for my volunteering trip with Experience Camps, which, to remind you, is a nonprofit grief camp for kids who have lost a parent, sibling, or caregiver. And the applications to volunteer and be a counselor with me next year come out November 1st. Just had to plug that one in there. But I'm continuing this episode after returning, and this was a message that came up during one of the sharing circles with my campers. It was realizing that we are all at this camp because we lost someone close to us. And when we're at home in our normal day-to-day life, it's not really talked about. We don't want to make someone else uncomfortable with our own suffering, but at camp, you have the support, freedom, understanding, and space to do so. Yet in the real world, there are so many other experiences that land on the negative side of things that we hold in or shy away from discussing. And it takes a lot of courage to open up that side of you because of the potential shame, rejection, or misunderstandings that could come with sharing. We all have very shared experiences. It's just no one talks about the deeper, more personal topics. And this is also something I help my clients see for themselves. Either I'm their source of validation, or I can offer a source of validation so that they don't feel like they are isolated on the little island that is their life. Whether it be around your career, relationships, social circles, body, starting over in a new city, and anything of the sort, which is what I'm going to be highlighting for you today, we all have something that changed us. And it's an experience that a lot of us can relate to. Part of the reason I got into coaching, well, I realized this once I started working in more of the life coaching sector of my practice, but it's that I felt alone in what I was experiencing when I first lost my job. I thought no one could relate to what I was going through, that everyone was talking about me behind my back, and that everyone's life was perfect except mine. I felt like a complete black sheep. So I became the resource I once needed so you don't have to feel the way that I felt. I believe that no one is going through a completely original experience. It's just as a society, we hide our defaults from others and don't talk about certain subjects to avoid feeling judged for thinking differently. But hopefully, this episode will help you feel a little more normal about what it is you're going through or have been through on a more deeper level, and what to do when or if this occurs, mostly when, because it most likely will occur. And everything that I'm talking about is coming from client experiences, friends, my own life, and mind you, these situations, thoughts, or feelings happen to a majority of 20-somethings. Not all, but most. So let's get into it. At some point in your 20s, you will lose your job. You will either get laid off, furloughed, quit because you hate it so much with nothing lined up after, or even fired for whatever reason. Being laid off means you have lost your job and you will not be returning back to that company. Being furloughed means your job is waiting for you. You're still accruing seniority with your company, meaning there's no gap in your resume. You're just not getting paid or doing any work. So you're unemployed, but not without a job. Our market is constantly changing. So depending on the industry you're in and the year that it is, your career is not very safe. especially since you're one of the newer ones in that office or in that field. And everyone knows the last ones in are the first ones out. When you get furloughed or laid off, you need to go to your state's unemployment website and file for unemployment assistance. This is where the government will send you money to hold you over so you don't completely deplete your savings. Now, the amount of money you receive varies depending on the state you live in, and you will need to pay taxes on that money at the end of the year, or you can select the option to have the taxes taken out before the money hits your bank account. It's entirely up to you. If you were fired and it was not due to misconduct, but rather you weren't actually qualified for the job, then you are also eligible for unemployment. Now, here's where it gets tricky, and this primarily applies to those of you listening who are fresh to the working world, meaning about 8 months or less, or those of you who have not had a consistent paycheck for the last 9 months. In order to qualify for unemployment, your previous 2-quarter earnings need to exceed your most recent one times 1.5. So, we're in Q3 and you lose your job, then it would be Q1 plus Q2 needs to be greater than 1.5 times Q2. I mentioned all of this in the What to Do When You're Funemployed episode, but I'm going to reiterate it because it's been a while. On the flip side, if you went up and quit your job with nothing lined up, then you do not qualify for any governmental assistance, as well as if you got fired due to misconduct. But for the purpose of this episode and helping your mindset, I'm going to focus on the experience of losing your job that no one really talks about. And that is, when you lose your job, it is really easy to lose yourself, especially if you are anything like me and you tied your identity to your career, because now you have no reason to get out of bed in the morning. The most important thing to focus on when you become unemployed is your mental health. And this comes from creating structure in your day, since now you have all this time and not a lot of things to do with it. When clients come to me and are unemployed, the first thing we do is set up a routine so they don't lounge in pajamas their entire day. Life is still carrying on. Yes, you can take some time to rest, but don't let it be so much rest that you fall into a pit of depression. Your routine keeps you on the right road to bouncing back. Set an alarm to wake up. Have a morning routine to set the tone for your day. Have a list of to-dos for you to carry out, whether that be cleaning, running an errand, applying for a new job, reading, working out. You need to know what you're doing with your day so you don't get caught up, plopped on the couch with your phone in hand. And while yes, losing your job does suck, it can also open you up to pivoting industries and seeing what else is out there. Think about what you liked from your previous career and what you're interested in now that you have some experience under your belt. Freshen up your resume. Heck, even ask ChatGPT what jobs would work well given your past experiences and current interests and skills. Just don't let too much time go by where you're sitting down feeling sorry for yourself. Put yourself on a timeline, set daily and weekly goals to work towards, and make every errand a mini adventure that takes up more time than it should. When I was unemployed, I would walk to every errand. It would be like, oh, I need one item from Publix. Allow me to walk there. I need to go to CVS. Guess I better put on my walking shoes. I need to go to the gym. Well, with that one I biked, but still, walking and biking take longer than driving. Plus, I'm getting sunlight, fresh air, and exercise in the process, and using up some of the time that I have too much of. So, shared experience number 1 and what to do about it is losing your job. The second shared experience we all go through is heartbreak. The relationship you had in college or in your lower to mid-20s is probably not going to be your forever relationship. Maybe you called off your engagement. Maybe you got divorced, got broken up with the person you thought you were going to marry, or simply realized you and the person you're with are no longer traveling on the same life path. There is so much growth and discovery that goes on in your 20s that no longer makes you and your partner compatible with one another. Again, this is not going to happen to everyone, but a majority of you will go through that breakup that changes you. My ex and I broke up for a lot of reasons, but a large part of it fell under the umbrella of I had to grow up really fast after graduating college, and he didn't have to grow up at all. And it created a giant disconnect. We saw the world and understood it very differently and could no longer relate to one another. I changed so much and grew so much, and he stayed the same. To no fault of his own or my own, we were just moving through life at very, very different paces, and it caused our relationship to deteriorate. Now, I am the one that broke up with him. So when the actual breakup call happened, and yes, it was a call, well, it was a FaceTime because we were long distance and he had just canceled his trip to see me so he could throw a Halloween party. I digress. When that call happened, I had already processed all of my emotions 3 months prior. So my life actually felt like all this weight was lifted off my shoulders and my personality came back because I no longer had the struggles of my relationship weighing me down. We're all going to have different breakup experiences, but the shared one is parting ways with the person you once loved. And that's okay. That is part of the learning process. Take what you liked about that person and use that knowledge to find your next match and vice versa. Know what you didn't like about that person and use it to help you weed out the people you know aren't going to be good for you. But please know this. Having a relationship end does not make you a failure or undesirable or forever alone. It's knowing that you would rather spend your life finding someone who enhances you rather than spend it with the wrong person. My breakup made me so much stronger today and really taught me who I am and what I'm willing to put up with versus not. And you'll see really soon how all of these shared experiences in your 20s teach you a lot of life lessons that you'll need to take with you into your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, where even then, each decade is going to hold an entirely different life lesson for you to go through. But when you go through a breakup, you need to take some time to be single, rediscover yourself, your interests, passions, directions, and goals, and by carving out your new path on your own, you're allowing new people to be invited in as you molt into this new version of yourself. Yes, your heart is going to ache. Yes, you're going to want them back. Unless you're me, I was totally and completely done with my ex. Yes, you're going to think no one will ever love you again. But know that this phase will also pass, and you're better off without them, even if it doesn't feel that way right now. And you'll be better off for it. If you're unhappy in your relationship and listening to this, then please leave. Life is too short for one person to cause you this much unhappiness. You might have to move back in with your parents, find a roommate, change cities, and disrupt a lot of other pieces of your life when you do so. But future you is going to be so glad that you did. And if your best friends are telling you to leave this person, listen to them. It's going to be tough because your heart is invested. But your friends know you better than you do in this moment since you have your love blinders on. And on the topic of listening to your friends and breaking up with this person, the third main shared experience encompasses friendships. The friendships you make in college and beyond is going to change. You're probably not going to be with the same people for this entire decade for similar reasons as to why you would go through a romantic breakup. As you grow and change, your circle of friends will grow and change too. This could mean living in different cities or no longer being able to connect with another based on a different experience or interest in your life. As your priorities change, so will the people in your life, and vice versa. As other people's priorities change, you might not be as present in their life, and that's okay. You'll find new people who do match your energy, and not everyone is going to have a reason for leaving your life. I've mentioned this before, but my entire friend group changed last year when I had a falling out with the main person of that group, the connector, if you will. And it really throws you when the people you were once spending every weekend with, you never see or hear from again, except for maybe on occasion. When I was going through this friendship change, All the women in my mastermind group told me that they all experienced the same thing, and some were experiencing it in that same moment too. All of these women are in their 50s and 60s, and they said this also won't be the last time something like this happens, which sucks because you need friendships. You need healthy relationships in your immediate environment, and making friends in your 20s can feel really fucking hard, just like dating in your 20s feels hard. It's why I created my book club. It's why I started saying yes to things even if I wasn't really dying to go. It's why I forced myself to go do social things when the introvert in me is screaming to stay home. It's why I go to run club as consistently as I can. And it's why I created my next workshop, Find My Friends, which is happening next week, and you still have time to sign up. It'll be on Wednesday, September 26th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you're looking for help in making new friends that are high quality, high value people, then please join me on this Zoom call and sign up right now at justdiamondcoaching.com/friends, or check the show notes for that link. It's completely free, and I know you need help with this skill because meeting people, that's the easy part. Meeting your people, that's where it gets a little tricky. Little side tangent, I know, but I'm excited for this one and I want you to be there. But back on topic, you are going to outgrow people. There's not always going to be a rhyme or reason as to why you guys aren't friends anymore. Just know that as you discover who you are in this decade, you're going to find your friend group shifting to support that. And it needs to shift. A lot of times your friend group is going to keep you in your comfort zone. So it's not to say you need to constantly be on the hunt to make friends, but it is to say that you should always be open to new relationships and experiences, even if your current friends are not. Actually, especially if your current friends are not. And this practice of constantly developing relationships will come in very handy as we move into the fourth shared experience, moving cities, if not states. Whether it's your first job out of school planting you in a new city, or a choice you make down the line, either for personal reasons, relationship reasons, or career reasons, at some point in your 20s, you are going to pack up all of your belongings and exist in a new city where you might not know anyone. And there are a lot of unknowns that accompany this change. You're going to be scared. You're going to question if you're making the right decision or not. You're going to feel lonely. And you're also going to want to already be 10 steps ahead and feel settled with that new friend group, with your new job, with your life as you move, literally and figuratively, into this next chapter. But no, none of that will happen overnight. It's important to keep yourself present and grounded in the moment instead of trying to reach for the future version of you that hasn't even been built yet. At the end of each day or even each week, reflect on your wins from that week. It'll help you stay present and grateful for what you're going through and what you're growing through. It could be, did you talk to someone new? Did you present a kick-ass project at work? Did you go on a date? Did you join a gym? Did you try a new restaurant in your new city? Did you explore a nice new neighborhood? When you move to a new city, everything becomes an adventure. Everything is new and exciting, and I want you to appreciate that moment because it will fade as you become more adapted to your environment. And know that you will get a wave of homesickness. I remember when I first moved from Orlando to Charlotte, I got homesick when I joined a gym. I felt really sad that the people I was used to seeing every day or almost every day at my LA Fitness in Orlando, I will never see again. It's not to say I wasn't super excited for this move and next adventure in my life, but it is to say that everything, and I do mean everything, in my life was different. And that newness comes with a form of grief, as you're grieving your old life, your previous chapter, as you step into this new one, which makes sense because this change comes with letting go of an older version of you while simultaneously thanking that version for helping you get to where you are now. So when you move cities, if not states, stay curious. Stay open to new adventures, people, and experiences because you never know what door could open up for you as a result of you being at the right place at the right time. But moving cities is shared experience number 4. Now, The final shared experience that I want to discuss today is about your body, because let's face it, you're not getting any younger. Add in a desk job and figuring out what to eat 3 times a day, all day, every day, and just plain taking care of yourself, you're probably noticing some undesirable changes to your body. It's common to gain weight and not have the same body that you had when you were in high school or college or even your early 20s. But remember, just because something is common doesn't mean you should accept what's going on. You need to take better care of yourself, starting yesterday. You need to be strength training at least once a week. You need to learn how to cook simple, nutrient-filled meals for yourself. You need to stop eating out for your meals and skipping breakfast. You'd be surprised how many people I talk to that ask for nutrition help aren't even eating 3 meals a day. As you approach your mid-20s and beyond, your body will change, especially to my females listening, as your body is preparing to bear a child. Whether you want one or not, it's in your biology. It's done growing in height. And if you don't have any healthy systems in place to take good care of yourself, then what you see in the mirror is going to reflect the actions you take on a regular basis. Your relationship to alcohol, food, eating out because it's easier than cooking and cleaning up after yourself needs a good old wake-up call. It's not to say you can never partake in those things, but it is to say that your health is your greatest asset, and you need to be treating it as such. Because if you don't have a solid foundation in your nutritional and physical health, then you aren't even giving yourself a fighting chance around moving through all of the other shared experiences that I've mentioned so far. Meaning, your mental health will be that much more difficult to manage because you aren't even doing the bare minimum of taking care of yourself. But don't worry, I don't expect you to know exactly how to take care of yourself. Nobody really teaches you that when you go into the adult world, and that's what I'm here to help you out with. I know no one teaches you how to do this adulting thing. There is no handbook or manual. Everyone expects you to just know, even when they didn't know what they were doing when they were your age. They figure it's a rite of passage to go through a lot of different struggles until you come out to the other side as you enter your 30s, almost like a survival of the fittest challenge. And I feel sorry for them because they didn't have this podcast to listen to. They didn't have me as their designated 20-something guide. So yeah, they did have to struggle a bit to figure it all out. And that's something you don't have to do on your own. I think one of the biggest challenges in your 20s is the pull to want to grow up right away and the pull to want to stay young, wild, and free. We want both. We want a higher paying job, our forever relationship, our solid friend group with tons of memories already made, but we also want to feel free in how we spend our time. We want to go travel the world and experience our 20s like they do in the movies with partying and being single. It's perfectly normal to have no idea what you're doing, to not have it figured out, whatever it is for you, which is a whole ideology in and of itself. I do believe you can have it figured out. I believe I have it all figured out. And by that, I mean I know exactly what I'm doing and what I'm working towards right now. And I also know that vision can change in a year or 5 or 10. But right now, I wake up each and every day knowing what I need to do to make my dreams come true. And that's what I help other 20-somethings with, because I was once in the shoes of not knowing what the hell I was doing with my life or how to move forward. It wasn't until I lost my job and started to explore my own interests did I uncover my passion and what it takes to follow through on my dreams. To be able to leave my corporate job, to leave a relationship that wasn't good for me anymore, to move to a brand new state, to be self-sufficient 20-something building a business, to stay in good shape and be healthy. All of those things came with pretty shitty learning experiences. But that's part of life. You need the down moments to push you forward. And a coach to make this growth you're experiencing or hardships much easier and quicker. So if there's any message I want you to take away from this episode, it's that all of the self-doubt, anxiety about your future, stuckness, confusion, and anything of the sort is perfectly normal. Your 20s will always be a decade-long learning experience as you figure out who you are and what you want out of your life. And like I said, if you want to speed that process up and actually start making moves, then I invite you to hop on a Road to Success call with me, and we can start the conversation as to what that looks like for you and what you're currently doing or not doing to get there. All you have to do is click the Let's Chat link in the show notes and schedule a day and time that works for you. Because this is what I help people in your same boat with, and I'm pretty damn good at helping you get your shit together and own your life. Boom. Mic drop. But no, seriously, let's chat. And with that, this does conclude another episode of How to 20-something. If you liked what you heard, if one or more of these shared experiences related to you, or you have a friend that you know could benefit from hearing what I have to say, then please share this episode, post it on social media, and tag me at coach.jessdiamond when you do. And as always, I can't wait to be in your headphones again next week with another brand new episode.